Hi, I'm Dr. Larry Malerba, and welcome back to the All Things Homeopathy channel. Thanks for tuning in. By the way, you'd have to be hiding under a rock if you didn't already know that the issue of medical freedom has found its way to the forefront of the culture wars in America. Clearly, medical freedom is fast becoming the defining issue of our time. Contrary to what some think, it really should be a nonpartisan issue. It affects all members of society, regardless of political affiliation. The medical system is badly broken and has been spiraling downward for decades now. The COVID pandemic has only served to illuminate this obvious truth. It's become increasingly clear that the American medical system is now controlled by the medical cartel and its powerful corporate financial interests. Pharma, big biotech, and insurance carriers together control the entire system, from medical schools to medical journals to research institutions to clinics and hospitals and even physicians themselves. This corporate capture also includes government regulatory agencies like the NIH, FDA, and CDC. These various parties are captured in the sense that they are financially dependent upon the medical cartel. They're only allowed to promote cartel approved medical treatments, and they're forbidden from expressing beliefs or opinions that would undermine the authority of the cartel. On an international level, the World Health Organization is controlled by the very same powerful interests. We've seen the worldwide implementation of medical propaganda, medical coercion, medical mandates, and even medical censorship. Those who question these deceitfully undemocratic tactics are ironically accused of being spreaders of medical misinformation. For example, Orwellian terms like vaccine hesitant and anti vaxxer are intentionally used to discredit and intimidate those who question the dominant narrative that vaccines are by default safe and effective. Even the media has been bought off. It has dutifully and without conscience done the bidding of big medicine day in and day out, year after year. Let's not fool ourselves. Growth, control, and profit are the primary objectives of the ruthlessly parasitic medical cartel. And I'm being generous when I say that the genuine health and well being of the populace is only of secondary concern to them. If their products and services were truly beneficial and worthwhile, there would be no need to employ authoritarian tactics to erase alternative choices in order to maintain control of the market. Pharma's dominance of the American medical market can be traced all the way back to the late 1800s and early 1900s with the rise of the Rockefeller family empire and its deliberate strategy to corporatize medical education and medical care. Manipulation of the market by the medical cartel is the defining issue of our time because it restricts the healthcare options available to us. It threatens our freedom to choose and even our freedom to voice our own medical opinions and what we think would be best for the American healthcare system. Control of the narrative is so powerful and pervasive that most people have no awareness or understanding of the fact that various other viable medical alternatives even exist. The populace is unwittingly kept in the dark by a constant stream of propaganda and medical scare tactics. No one knows because they have been gaslighted. Alternative holistic healthcare options have been canceled, deplatformed, and prohibited from even being mentioned except in the most negative of light by most media sources. Instead of a medical system that serves the people, we have naively succumbed to a system that greedily exploits the people for profit. Pharma controls the rules of the game and prohibits knowledge of and access to other, safer, less expensive, and oftentimes more effective therapeutic options. We are only now becoming aware of how government, in cahoots with the medical cartel, controls social media platforms by limiting the medical information that we're allowed to see and the medical opinions that we're allowed to express. The silver lining is that the COVID pandemic has raised public awareness about this alarming trend, and there is still time to change course before it's too late. The time has come to demand that every person must be recognized as having certain guaranteed medical rights. Every person has an inalienable right to bodily autonomy. I am the one who chooses what I will allow to be done to my body, if anything at all. Whether government recognizes it or not, it is a non-negotiable human right to be able to choose and to receive the medical therapy of one's choice. Furthermore, we demand the absolute right to express our opinions about the medical establishment and to freely criticize its exploitative behaviors without fear of reprisal. We reject medical cartel propaganda that tries to convince us that they are the only game in town. We also retain the absolute right to refuse any treatment that is being foisted upon us against our will. Furthermore, we reject the obviously bogus propagandistic claims that holistic therapies are unproven, unscientific, or dangerous. We choose what medicines go into our own bodies, not medical science. While we understand that medical science is important, it's not the final arbiter of our personal medical choices. Thoughtful medical decisions require the consideration of a complex combination of factors, including medical science, personal experience, holistic medical knowledge, moral considerations, and even personal preference. We are the ultimate arbiters of our own bodily autonomy, not experts, not bureaucrats, and definitely not politicians. Even in some mythical alternate universe where science could always claim to be 100% correct without fail, it still wouldn't invalidate our fundamental right to decide our own medical fate. In reality, science has been wrong many times before, and it will be again. Now, I'd also like to make one additional important point that is seldom mentioned. While it is true that we have the right to choose what is done to our own bodies, it is also true that we must take ultimate responsibility for those choices. It's not possible to advocate for true medical freedom without recognizing the necessity of personal responsibility. In other words, if I choose a certain course of medical action, whether conventional or unconventional, and things don't turn out as well as I had hoped, I must accept responsibility for the role I played in the matter. After all, I presumably consented to it in the first place. We mustn't be naive. Human illness will always remain a mysterious and highly complex phenomenon, and medical science is never as certain or foolproof as it appears or claims to be. Arrogant assertions about mainstream medicine being the best and only way to treat illness should always be met with a healthy dose of skepticism. We must also acknowledge that just because some alternative approach is considered natural, that doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to work or even guaranteed to be safe. Now, that's not to say that we should accept blame for, or punish ourselves for bad outcomes. It simply means that no therapy, whether conventional or unconventional, ever comes with a guarantee of success. When our therapeutic strategy does not bring relief, we shouldn't look for someone or something to blame. We don't want to model ourselves on the bad behaviors of the existing medical system, which doesn't hesitate to blame its patients when they fail to get well. We need to do better than that, much better. When we meet with adversity, it's best to accept responsibility for our choices. We then reassess the situation and continue to search for another, hopefully better, solution. The power of conventional medical groupthink is very intimidating indeed. Many tell stories of how they've been warned by their regular doctors not to pursue alternative options, and many are threatened with discontinuation of services by those same doctors if they dare to step out of line. To most people, opting for an alternative therapy can be a scary choice to make. It requires bravery, thoughtful consideration, and a willingness to try something new. But if we continue to allow wealthy corporations to bribe politicians and to buy off the media and the medical establishment, then we'll never have the opportunity to make alternative choices for ourselves. It boils down to whether we will continue to allow corporate medicine to restrict our choices and censor our voices. Or will we stand up for the moral choice, the democratic choice, the choice that best serves humanity as a whole? I urge you to please take the time to educate yourself about this critical issue that affects us all. Now is the time to join the rapidly rising medical freedom movement. It's time to resist the corporate takeover of healthcare. And it's time to demand that all governments, medical institutions, and the media respect our fundamental rights to bodily autonomy, freedom of choice, and freedom of medical speech. Thanks very much for listening. I hope you'll tune in again, and as always, may the vital force be with you.